If you want to get rich or if you want to get free, the path is the same. Stop consuming today. All the losers in the world are consumers. All the billionaires in the world are producers. All the free people have stopped consuming. Consumers watch movies, producers read books. Consumers buy stuff that loses value over time. Producers buy stuff that gains value over time. Consumers always have the newest things. Producers always have the oldest things. Discipline, persistence, patience. Never be a consumer. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you a consumer or a creator? Think about it for a moment. This might be the most important question you'll ever answer. You see, in this world, there are two types of people. There are those who consume, and there are those who create. And the difference between these two groups is as vast as the difference between night and day. Consumers are like sponges. They soak up everything around them. They absorb information, products, entertainment. You name it, they're always on the receiving end, always taking in, but rarely giving out. They're the ones who are always looking for the next big thing to buy, the next show to watch, the next trend to follow. But creators? Oh, creators are a different breed altogether. They're the ones who make things happen. They're the ones who take raw materials, be it ideas, resources, or opportunities, and turn them into something valuable. They're not content with just taking in what the world has to offer. No, they want to add to it, to leave their mark on it. Now, I'm not saying that consuming is inherently bad. We all need to consume to some degree. We need food, shelter, clothing. We need information and education. But the problem arises when consumption becomes our default mode, when it becomes our primary way of interacting with the world. You see, excessive consumption is like a trap. It's comfortable, it's easy, and it can be incredibly seductive. It's like quicksand. The more you struggle in it, the deeper you sink. Before you know it, you're in, over your head, drowning in a sea of stuff you don't need, information you don't use, and experiences that don't truly enrich your life. But creation is the lifeline that can pull you out of that quicksand. It's the ladder that can help you climb out of the pit of mindless consumption. When you create, you're not just taking from the world, you're adding to it. You're not just a passenger on this journey of life. You're the driver. Let me tell you a story. Back in my day, I knew a young man. Let's call him Tom. Tom was the quintessential consumer. He had all the latest gadgets, wore all the trendiest clothes, ate at all the fanciest restaurants. From the outside, it looked like Tom had it all. But you know what? Tom was miserable. He was drowning in debt, always chasing the next big purchase. He was constantly stressed, always worried about keeping up with the Joneses. His life was a never-ending cycle of work, spend, worry, repeat. Now contrast that with another young man I knew. We'll call him Jack. Jack didn't have much in terms of material possessions. His clothes were simple, his car was old, his apartment was small. But Jack was a creator. Every day Jack would wake up early and work on his ideas. He was writing a book, developing a new business concept, learning new skills. While Tom was out buying the latest smartphone, Jack was investing in books and courses that would help him grow. Fast forward a few years, and guess what happened? Tom was still stuck in the same cycle, more in debt than ever. But Jack had published his book, started a successful business, and was living life on his own terms. He wasn't rich by conventional standards, but he was wealthy in all the ways that truly mattered. You see, that's the power of being a creator. It's not just about making money, although that often comes as a byproduct. It's about creating value, about contributing something meaningful to the world. It's about growth, about becoming more than you were yesterday. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but I'm not creative. I can't write a book or start a business. Let me stop you right there. Being a creator isn't about having some innate artistic talent. It's not about being the next Shakespeare or Steve Jobs. Being a creator is a mindset. It's about approaching life with the intention of adding value, of making things better. You can be a creator in any field, in any role. A teacher who develops innovative ways to engage students That's a creator. A janitor who finds more efficient ways to keep a building clean. That's a creator too. A parent who comes up with fun, educational activities for their kids. You guessed it, that's a creator. The key is to shift your focus from what you can get to what you can give. Instead of asking what's in it for me, start asking what can I contribute? Instead of wondering what can I buy, start thinking what can I make? Now I know what some of you might be thinking, but isn't it easier to just consume? Isn't it more comfortable? And you're right, it is easier. It is more comfortable, at least in the short term. But let me tell you something. Nothing worth having comes easy. Growth is uncomfortable. Creation is challenging. But that discomfort, that challenge, that's where the magic happens. That's where you truly come alive. Hey, think about it. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Was it when you were sitting on the couch, passively watching TV, or was it when you were engaged in creating something, when you were fully immersed in a project or an idea? I bet it was the latter, because that's what creation does. It energizes you, it ignites your passion, it gives you purpose. And here's the beautiful thing about being a creator. The more you create, the more you have to give. And the more you give, the more you receive. It's a beautiful, virtuous cycle. But becoming a creator isn't just about what you do. It's about how you think. It's about developing a creator's mindset. So how do we do that? Let me share with you a few key principles. First, embrace curiosity. Creators are inherently curious. They're always asking questions, always wondering how things work, always looking for new ideas and perspectives. So cultivate your curiosity. Ask questions. Explore new topics. Never stop learning. Second, take action. Ideas are great, but they're worthless if you don't act on them. Creators don't just think, they do. They experiment, they try new things, they're not afraid to fail. Remember, it's better to try and fail than to never try at all. Third, focus on value. Always ask yourself, how can I value? Whether it's in your job, your relationships, or your personal projects, focus on creating value for others. When you focus on giving value, you'll find that value comes back to you tenfold. Fourth, embrace discomfort. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. So don't shy away from challenges. Embrace them, see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Fifth, be patient. Creation takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your dreams be. But if you stay consistent, if you keep putting in the work day after day, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Now, I want to address something important here. When I talk about being a creator, I'm not just talking about material creation. Yes, creating products, businesses, artwork, these are all forms of creation. But there's another type of creation that's just as important, if not more so. I'm talking about creating yourself. You see, the most important thing you'll ever create is your own life. Your character, your skills, your relationships, your experiences, these are all things that you create. Every day, with every decision you make, you're creating your future self. You're either creating a stronger, wiser, more capable version of yourself, or you're creating a weaker, less confident, less capable version. So ask yourself, what kind of self are you creating? Are you investing in your growth, in your education, in your skills? Are you nurturing your relationships? Are you taking care of your health? Are you cultivating positive habits? Or are you letting life happen to you? Are you drifting along, consuming whatever comes your way, reacting to life instead of creating it? You see, that's the fundamental difference between consumers and creators. Consumers let life happen to them. Creators make life happen for them. Now, I want to be clear about something. When I talk about creators being more successful than consumers, I'm not just talking about financial success. Yes, creators often end up wealthier than consumers. But true wealth isn't just about money. True wealth is about freedom. It's about having control over your time, your energy, your life. It's about being able to pursue your passions, to make a difference in the world, to live life on your own terms. And that's what being a creator gives you. When you're a creator, you're not at the mercy of the job market or the economy or anyone else. you have skills, you have value to offer, you have the ability to adapt and innovate. But more than that, being a creator gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you the satisfaction of knowing that you're not just taking from the world but contributing to it. It gives you the joy of seeing your ideas come to life, of watching your creations make a difference in people's lives. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but I'm too old to become a creator. I've been a consumer all my life. It's too late for me. Let me tell you something. It's never too late. Never. I've seen people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s completely transform their lives by embracing a creator's mindset. Age is not a barrier to creation. In fact, with age comes wisdom, experience, perspective, all valuable assets for a creator. The only thing standing between you and becoming a creator is your mindset. It's the stories you tell yourself. It's the limitations you put on yourself. So I challenge you today, I challenge you to shift your mindset, to start seeing yourself not as a consumer, but as a creator, to start looking at the world not in terms of what you can get, but what you can give. Start small if you need to. You don't have to write a best-selling novel or start $1 million business right away. Start by creating small things. Maybe it's a blog post sharing your thoughts. Maybe it's a homemade gift for a friend. Maybe it's a new process at work that makes things more efficient. The size of the creation doesn't matter. What matters is that you start creating, because once you get a taste of what it's like to bring something new into the world, you'll be hooked. You'll want to create more, to do more, to be more. And as you create, you'll find that you start attracting other creators. You'll start building a network of like-minded individuals who inspire you, challenge you, support you. You'll find yourself in an upward spiral of growth and Now, let me be clear. The path of a creator isn't always easy. There will be challenges. There will be setbacks. There will be times when you doubt yourself, when you wonder if it's worth it. But let me tell you something. It is worth it. The struggles, the challenges, the setbacks, they're all part of the journey. They're what make the victory so sweet. They're what make you grow, what make you stronger. And here's the thing, even if you fail, even if your creations don't turn out the way you hoped, you'll still be better off than if you never tried at all. Because in the process of creating, you'll have grown, you'll have learned, you'll have become more than you were before. That's the beauty of being a creator. Every act of creation, whether it succeeds or fails, makes you better. It makes you stronger, smarter, more capable. It expands your horizons, increases your skills, builds your confidence. So don't be afraid of failure. Embrace it as part of the process. Learn from it, grow from it, and then get back up and create again. Now, I want to address something important here. When I talk about being a creator, I'm not saying you have to quit your job and to become an entrepreneur. You can be a creator within any role, any job, any situation. If you're an employee, you can be a creator by finding new ways to add value to your company. You can create better processes, come up with innovative ideas, mentor others. If you're a stay-at-home parent, you can be a creator by crafting enriching experiences for your children, by creating a nurturing home environment, by starting a parenting blog to share your insights. If you're retired, you can be a creator by volunteering in your community, by starting a hobby that produces something tangible, by writing your memoirs to pass on your wisdom to future generations. The opportunities for creation are endless. The key is to shift your mindset from passive consumption to active creation. Now let's talk about something that often holds people back from becoming creators. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. These fears are natural. They're part of being human. But here's the thing, fear is not a stop sign, it's a checkpoint. It's there to make you pause, to make you think, to make you prepare. But it's not there to stop you. The most successful creators in the world, the ones who've made the biggest impact, who've achieved the most, they all felt fear. But the difference is they didn't let that fear paralyze them. They felt the fear and did it anyway. So feel the fear, acknowledge it, but don't let it stop you. Use it as fuel. Let it drive you to prepare more, to work harder. Remember, on the other side of fear is growth. On the other side of fear is opportunity. On the other side of fear is the life you dream of. Now, I want to talk about something that's crucial for any creator: consistency. You see, creation isn't a one-time event. It's not something you do once and then you're done. It's a habit. It's a lifestyle. The most successful creators aren't necessarily the most talented or the most brilliant. They're the ones who show up day after day, who put in the work consistently, who keep creating even when they don't feel like it. Consistency is what turns actions into habits, habits into character, and character into destiny. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the wannabes from the real deal. So whatever you choose to create, commit to doing it consistently. Set aside time every day or every week for creation. Make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. Treat it with the same importance as you would any other crucial aspect of your life. And here's the beautiful thing about consistency. It compounds. Each act of creation builds on the last. Each day of work adds to your skills, your knowledge, your experience. Over time, these small, consistent efforts add up to massive results. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked when discussing creation: the importance of rest and reflection. You see, creation isn't just about constant output. It's also about input. It's about giving your mind space to process, to make connections, to come up with new ideas. Some of the best ideas come when you're not actively trying to create. They come in the shower, on a walk while you're falling asleep. That's why it's crucial to build periods of rest and reflection into your creative process. Take time to step back from your work. Take walks in nature. Meditate, journal. Give your mind the space it needs to make those unexpected connections that lead to breakthrough ideas. And don't forget to celebrate your creations, no matter how small. Take pride in what you've made. Share it with others. Let yourself feel the joy of bringing something new into the world. Now, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to commit to being a creator. Every single day, create something. It doesn't have to be big. It could be a sketch, a poem, a new recipe, a thoughtful email to a friend, a solution to a problem at work. The what doesn't matter as much as the act of creation itself. What matters is that you shift from passive consumption to active creation. And at the end of those 30 days, look back and see how you feel. I bet you'll find that you feel more alive, more energized, more fulfilled. I bet you'll find that you've grown in ways you never expected, because that's what creation does. It doesn't just change the world around you, it changes you. It makes you more of who you truly are. It brings out the best in you. So I ask you again, are you a consumer or a creator? The choice is yours, and it's a choice you make every single day, with every action you take, with every minute you spend. Choose to be a creator. Choose to add value to the world. Choose to make your mark. Choose to live a life of purpose and meaning. Remember, the world doesn't need more consumers. The world needs more creators. The world needs you, your ideas, your passion, your unique perspective. So go if you want to get rich or if you want to get free. The path is the same. Stop consuming today. All the losers in the world are consumers. All the billionaires in the world are producers. All the free people have stopped consuming. Consumers watch movies, producers read books, consumers buy stuff that loses value over time, producers buy stuff that gains value over time. Consumers always have the newest things, producers always have the oldest things. Discipline, persistence, patience, never be a consumer. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you a consumer or a creator? The answer to this question could very well determine the trajectory of your entire life. It's a simple question, but don't be fooled. It's not an easy one to answer honestly. You see, we live in a world that's designed to turn us all into consumers. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, we're bombarded with messages telling us to buy this. Try that upgrade to the latest model. It's a never-ending cycle of consumption. that's designed to keep us trapped, to keep us small, to keep us from reaching our true potential. But here's the thing, the truly successful people, the ones who make a real difference in this world, they're not consumers, they're creators. They're the ones who are always looking for ways to add value, to make something new, to leave their mark on the world. Now, I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with consuming. We all need to consume to some degree. We need food, shelter, clothing. But there's a big difference between consuming what you need and being consumed by your wants. Let me tell you a story. Back in my day, I knew a young man named Tom. Tom was always chasing the latest trends. He had to have the newest car, the biggest TV, the fanciest clothes. He was working 2 jobs just to keep up with his lifestyle. And you know what? He was miserable. He was stressed all the time, always worrying about how he was going to pay his next bill. Now contrast that with another young man I knew. Let's call him Jack. Jack lived in a small apartment, drove an old car, and wore the same clothes year after year. But Jack wasn't focused on consuming. He was focused on creating. He spent his evenings and weekends working on his ideas, building his skills, starting a small business from his garage. Fast forward a few years, and where do you think Tom and Jack ended up? Tom was still stuck in the same cycle, working more and more just to buy more and more. But Jack had turned his small business into a thriving company. He was employing dozens of people, making a real difference in his community. And here's the kicker. He could have afforded all the things Tom had been chasing, but he didn't want them anymore. He had found something far more valuable. You see, that's the secret that all truly successful people understand. It's not about what you have, it's about what you create. It's not about how much you can consume, it's about how much value you can add to the world. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but I'm not creative. I don't have any special talents. Let me stop you right there. Every single one of you has the capacity to be a creator. Creation isn't just about inventing new gadgets or painting masterpieces. Creation is about adding value whatever way you can. Maybe you're a teacher who creates lesson plans that inspire your students. Maybe you're a nurse who creates a more comforting environment for your patients. Maybe you're a parent who creates a loving home for your children. All these are acts of creation, and they're all infinitely more valuable than any act of consumption. But here's the catch. Becoming a creator isn't easy. It requires discipline, persistence, and patience. It requires you to delay gratification, to resist the constant temptation to consume. It requires you to invest in yourself, to constantly learn and grow. Let me give you an example. When I was starting out, I made a decision. Instead of spending my money on fancy dinners or new clothes, I invested in books. I read everything I could get my hands on. Business, philosophy, psychology, you name it, I read it. And you know what? Those books changed my life. They opened my mind to new ideas, new possibilities. They gave me the knowledge and the inspiration I needed to start creating my own success. Now, I'm not saying you need to live like a monk. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life's pleasures. But the key is to make sure that your consumption is fueling your creation, not hindering it. If watching a movie inspires you to write a screenplay, if buying a new gadget helps you be more productive, fantastic. But if you're just consuming for the sake of consuming, that's when you need to take a step back and reevaluate. You see, the world doesn't need more consumers. The world is drowning in consumers. What the world needs, what the world is desperately crying out for, is more creators, people who are willing to step up, to take risks, to put themselves out there and make something new. And here's the beautiful thing. When you shift from being a consumer to being a creator, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not just taking from the world, you're adding to it. You're not just a passive observer, you're an active participant. You're not just existing, you're truly living. But let me warn you, this shift isn't going to happen overnight. It's not going to be easy. The world is going to try its hardest to keep you in that consumer mindset. It's going to tempt you with shiny new things, with quick fixes and easy solutions. It's going to tell you that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes to be a creator. Don't listen to it. Those voices, They are voices of fear, of mediocrity, of settling for less than you're capable of. And you, my friends, you were not put on this earth to be mediocre. You were put here to be extraordinary, to make your mark, to create something meaningful. So how do you make this shift? How do you go from being a consumer to being a creator? Well, it starts with a decision. A decision to stop letting the world dictate your choices. A decision to start taking control of your life, your time, your energy. Start small. Instead of watching TV tonight, write a page of that book you've always wanted to write. Instead of buying a new outfit, invest that money in a course that will teach you a new skill. Instead of scrolling through your phone, spend that time brainstorming ideas for a business you could start. And here's a crucial point. Don't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel completely ready. The most successful creators in the world, they weren't ready when they started. They were scared. They were uncertain. They had no idea if what they were doing would work. But they started anyway. And that's what separated them from everyone else. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every successful business started with a single idea. Every masterpiece began with a blank canvas. The key is to start, to take that first step, no matter how small it might seem. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but what if I fail? What if my creation isn't good enough? Well, let me tell you something. Failure is part of the process. In fact, failure is essential to the process. Every great creator has failed countless times. The difference is they didn't let those failures stop them. They learned from them, they grew from them, they used them as stepping stones to their eventual success. Think about it this way. Every time you fail, you're one step closer to success. Every mistake you make is a lesson learned. Every setback is an opportunity to come back stronger. Failure isn't the opposite of success. But here's the thing about failure. It only happens to those who try. Those who stay in their comfort zone, those who remain consumers, they never fail because they never try. But they also never truly succeed. They never experience the thrill of creation, the satisfaction of building something from nothing, the pride of making a real difference in the world. So I challenge you, embrace failure, welcome it, seek it out, because each failure is proof that you're trying, that you're pushing yourself, that you're on the path to becoming a true creator. Now let's talk about time. Time is the most precious resource we have. It's the one thing we can never get more of. And yet so many people waste their time consuming things that add no value to their lives. They spend hours watching mindless entertainment, scrolling through endless feeds, chasing fleeting pleasures. But creators guard their time jealously. They understand that every minute spent consuming is a minute not spent creating. They're always looking for ways to make the most of their time, to squeeze every ounce of productivity out of their day. That doesn't mean they're working 24/7. In fact, the most successful creators I've known are masters of balance. They work hard, but they also know the importance of rest and reflection. They understand that sometimes the best ideas come when you're not actively trying to create. The key is to be intentional with your time. Before you engage in any activity, ask yourself, is this helping me become a creator, or is it keeping me trapped as a consumer? Is this moving me closer to my goals, or is it just a distraction? And speaking of goals, that's another crucial difference between consumers and creators. Consumers drift through life reacting to whatever comes their way. Creators, on the other hand, are always working towards something. They have clear goals, a vision of what they want to achieve. Now, these goals don't have to be grandiose. You don't need to aim to change the world overnight. Maybe your goal is to write a book, or start a small business, or learn a new skill. The size of the goal isn't what matters. What matters is that you have a goal, something that drives you, something that gets you out of bed in the morning excited to create. And here's a little secret about goals. They have a funny way of growing. What starts as a small goal often leads to bigger and bigger things. That book you write might turn into a bestseller. That small business might grow into a thriving company. That new skill might open up opportunities you never even dreamed of. But none of that happens if you stay stuck in the consumer mindset, None of that happens if you're content to just take what the world gives you rather than creating what you want to see in the world. Now, let's talk about value. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring our worth by what we own. The size of our house, the brand of our car, the label on our clothes. These are the things that society often uses to judge success. But creators know better. They understand that true value isn't about what you own. It's about what you create. It's about the impact you have on the world around you. It's about the lives you touch, the problems you solve, the beauty you bring into existence. Think about the people you admire most. The ones who've really made a difference in the world. I bet they're not the ones with the biggest houses or the fanciest cars. They're the ones who've created something meaningful, something that's touched lives and changed the world for the better. That's the kind of value you should be striving for. Not the fleeting satisfaction of buying something new, but the lasting fulfillment of creating something worthwhile. And here's the beautiful thing about creating value. The more value you create for others, the more value tends to come back to you. It's not always direct and it's not always immediate, but over time, the creators are the ones who tend to prosper. Not just financially, but in all areas of life. Now, I want to address something that I know is on many of your minds. You're thinking, this all sounds great, but I have bills to pay. I have responsibilities. I can't just quit my job and become a full-time creator. And you're right. Most of us can't make that leap overnight. But here's the thing. You don't have to. Being a creator isn't about quitting your job or abandoning your responsibilities. It's about changing your mindset, about looking for opportunities to create value in whatever situation you find yourself in. Maybe you start by being a creator in your current job. Look for ways to innovate, to improve processes, to add more value to your company and your customers. Maybe you start a side project, something you work on in the evenings or on weekends. Maybe you volunteer your skills to a cause you care about. The point is, you can start becoming a creator right where you are right now. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect circumstances. You just need to decide that from this moment on, you're going to prioritize creation over consumption. And as you do this, as you start flexing those creative muscles, something amazing will happen. You'll start to see opportunities everywhere. Problems that used to frustrate you will become exciting challenges to solve. Ideas that you used to dismiss as impractical will start to seem possible. You'll start to realize that the world is full of possibilities, full of chances to create, to innovate, to make a difference. And bit by bit, day by day, you'll find yourself transforming from a consumer into a creator. Now, I don't want to talk about something that's absolutely crucial for any creator: continuous learning. In today's rapidly changing world, the ability to learn and adapt is more important than ever, and this is another area where creators have a huge advantage over consumers. You see, consumers are passive. They take in information without really engaging with it. They might learn a few facts here and there, but they're not really growing, not really developing new skills or insights. Creators, on the other hand, are active learners. They're always seeking out new knowledge, new skills, new perspectives. They understand that in order to create something truly valuable, they need to constantly be expanding their understanding of the world. This doesn't mean you need to go back to school or get another degree. In fact, some of the most valuable learning happens outside of traditional education. Read books, listen to podcasts, attend workshops, seek out mentors, engage in meaningful conversations with people who challenge your thinking. And most importantly, apply what you learn. Knowledge without action is just information. But knowledge combined with action, that's power. That's the fuel that drives creation. Now, let's talk about something that trips up a lot of would-be creators: perfectionism. We live in a world that often seems to demand perfection. We see polished final products everywhere we look, and it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that our creations need to be perfect from the start. But here's the truth. Perfectionism is the enemy of creation. It paralyzes us, keeps us from starting, keeps us from sharing our work with the world. And the most successful creators, they understand that done is better than perfect. They know that every great creation starts as a rough draft. They're not afraid to put out work that's less than perfect because they know that the feedback they get, the lessons they learn, will help them improve. They see their work as a continual process of iteration and improvement, not as a single make or break moment. So if you're holding back from creating because you're waiting for the perfect idea, the perfect time, the perfect circumstances, stop waiting. Start creating. Put your work out there, even if it's not perfect. Especially if it's not perfect, because that's how you grow, that's how you improve, that's how you eventually create something truly great. Now, I want to touch on something that's absolutely crucial for any creator: resilience. Because let me tell you, the path of a creator is not an easy one. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to face criticism. You're going to have days where you wonder if it's all worth it. But the creators who ultimately succeed are the ones who develop resilience. They're the ones who can take a hit and keep moving forward. They're the ones who see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as challenges to overcome. And here's the thing about resilience. It's not something you're born with. It's something you develop. Every time you face a setback and keep going, you're building resilience. Every time you receive criticism and use it to improve rather than give up, you're building resilience. Every time you fail and get back up, you're building resilience. So embrace the challenges. Welcome the setbacks, because each one is an opportunity to grow stronger, to become more resilient, to become a better creator. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked in discussions about creation: the importance of rest and reflection. In our hustle culture, there's often a tendency to glorify constant work, to wear busyness as a badge of honor. But the most effective creators understand the value of downtime. You see, creation isn't just about the active process of making something. It's also about giving your mind space to wander, to make connections, to come up with new ideas. Some of the best ideas come when we're not actively trying to create, when we're taking a walk or taking a shower or just sitting quietly. So don't feel guilty about taking breaks. Don't feel like you need to be creating every waking moment. Build in time for rest, for reflection, for letting your mind wander. It's not wasted time. It's a crucial part of the creative process. And while we're on the subject of rest,